Search is no longer just about rankings and clicks. In this video, I'll show you what generative engine optimization is and how brands can improve their chances of being cited, mentioned, and recommended by AI tools. Search is changing fast, and not in a small way. ChatGPT now supports 800 million users. The Gemini app has more than 750 million monthly active users. And more people are now using AI tools as part of research, comparison, and product discovery. So this is no longer a future trend. It is already affecting how brands get found. This is where generative engine optimization comes in. Generative engine optimization is the work of making your brand easy for AI systems to understand, easy to trust, and easy to surface when people ask questions. Think about what discovery looks like now. A user does not just type a keyword into Google anymore. They ask full questions like what is the best project management tool for a 20% remote team? Or which CRM is easiest for a small business to start with. In that moment, the goal is not just to have a page somewhere on the internet. The goal is to be clear enough, relevant enough, and credible enough to become part of the answer. Traditional SEO trained us to think about rankings, clicks, and traffic. Generative engine optimization adds another layer. Now you also have to think about mentions, citations, recommendations, and whether AI systems understand your brand well enough to include it in their responses. So what do you actually do? First, make your category crystal clear. If someone lands on your homepage, they should understand within seconds what you are, who you help, and what problems you solve. Not through a vague slogan or clever wording, but through a plain, direct category statement. For example, instead of saying we redefine next generation brand intelligence, say we help brands track visibility across AI search platforms and understand which prompts, topics, and competitors influence that visibility. That kind of sentence does two jobs at once. It helps humans understand you quickly, and it gives machines a much cleaner signal about what your brand actually is. This is important because AI systems need clarity. They need to understand what your company does, what category you belong to, what you offer, and what topics you should be trusted on. If your homepage says one thing, your LinkedIn says something else, and your review profiles describe you in a third way, you are creating confusion. You do not need identical wording everywhere, but the meaning needs to stay consistent. Second, write content so it works in sections, not just as full pages. This is where most brands fall short. Good content still has to work for humans first. They are the real audience, but the way people read online has changed too. Most people do not read every page from top to bottom. They scan, they jump to headings, they look for the clearest answer fast. AI systems behave differently, but they reward a similar kind of clarity. That is why each important section on a page should answer one question clearly and early. It helps the reader understand the point faster, and it also makes the content easier for AI systems to interpret accurately. If your heading is what is AI visibility, the first sentence below it should answer that question immediately, not after a long introduction, but right away. A weak version sounds like this. As search continues to evolve, brands are being forced to rethink how they approach digital visibility in an increasingly complex ecosystem. That sounds polished, but it says almost nothing. A stronger version sounds like this. AI visibility is how often your brand is mentioned, cited, or recommended in AI-generated answers across platforms like ChatGPT, Google AI search experiences, and Perplexity. That works better because it is direct, specific, and complete on its own. The same rule applies to product pages, service pages, category pages, FAQ sections, and comparison pages. Each section should be able to stand on its own. Third, stop hiding important information. If your main value proposition, pricing logic, product details, or trust signals are hidden inside tabs, sliders, or JavaScript-heavy sections, you are making it harder for search systems to interpret them correctly. Important information should be visible, accessible, and easy to parse. Your product name, category, key features, and proof points should be obvious. And if you use structured data, it should reinforce what is already clearly visible on the page, and it should not try to compensate for weak page communication. Structured data works best when the page itself is already logically organized. So do not think of schema as a trick. Think of it as reinforcement. Fourth, build brand evidence beyond your website. This part is becoming more important than many people realize. Your website is where you explain yourself. but the wider web is often where your credibility gets confirmed. A LinkedIn post can clarify your positioning. A YouTube demo can show how the product works. A review site can validate customer experience. A Reddit thread can show how real users talk about your solution. An industry article can place you in the right category. All of that is important because AI systems do not build understanding from one page alone. They look across the web for signals that support, repeat, or validate what your own site says. This means you need both owned content and earned mentions. Owned content is what you publish yourself. Earned mentions are what other people say about you, and both matter. So when you publish something valuable, do not stop at the blog post. Turn it into a LinkedIn post. Turn it into a short video. Pull out a few sharp insights for social. Give it a format that others can reference, discuss, or quote. Fifth, measure the right things. This is where the old playbook starts to break. Traffic and rankings are still important, but they are no longer enough on their own. AI-driven discovery can influence a buyer before any direct click happens. Someone may first read about your brand inside an AI answer, then search for you later, compare you with alternatives, and only visit your website afterward. So if you only look at sessions and conversions, you miss part of the journey. You also need to ask, for which prompts does my brand appear? How often am I mentioned compared with competitors? What topics trigger visibility for me? What topics do not? Are mentions positive, neutral, or negative? That is where generative engine optimization becomes measurable. So if you want a practical generative engine optimization checklist, it looks like this. Write one clean sentence that defines your brand clearly. Keep that meaning consistent across your website and public profiles. Rewrite key pages so every section answers one question directly. Move important information out of hidden elements and into visible page content. Use structured data to support what the page already communicates clearly. Build supporting proof beyond your site through reviews, videos, thought leadership, and third-party mentions. And track not just clicks, but visibility, mentions, and share of voice inside AI responses. That is what generative engine optimization really is. It is the discipline of making your brand clear enough to understand, credible enough to trust, and structured well enough to be reused when people ask AI systems for answers.